Husband screamed at my mom and gave her a panic attack. That is the title to this post in the Girl Dinner Diaries. Husband screamed at my mom. Okay, let's go ahead and see what that is about. Here she has pictured some ramen. She says, my mom just recently came to live with me and my husband. She just learned that my dad, they were married for 35 years, cheated on her, and she's trying to figure out life without him. It's been a week since she's been here. Anyway, we have a lot of animals at my house. One of the screen doors doesn't close all the way, and she didn't know that, and the cat got out. It was an accident. It happens. Yes, I'm sad about the cat, but I'm not mad at my mom. I posted him on socials, and he has a collar on with my phone number on it, so I'm hopeful. Anyway, my husband's response was not the same. He started screaming at her, telling her that she needs to be careful, that how dare she let the effing cat out, and screamed and raised his voice, was hitting the table, the counter, and was throwing things. He then started yelling at me when I told him to stop. My mom broke down in tears and was crying and had a full-blown panic attack. So I took her out of the house and we went and got coffee and some ramen, pictured above. She was hyperventilating and crying and said she feels like it's all her fault and that she doesn't want to come between me and my husband, and she's so sorry about the cat. And now I feel terrible for her. It's not her fault, and I don't know how to tell her that. It is not her fault about the screen door. How would she know that? That is not her fault. Why are you hollering at somebody like that that's already fragile? This dude is unstable. To me. Anyway, I threw out the term divorce to my husband because you're not going to talk to anyone like that, especially not my mom or myself. He left and came back playing the victim, saying that I shouldn't throw that word around and that I'm effing up for doing it, and I should have calmed him down rather than adding fuel to the fire. Now he's left to stay at his brother's. My mom is in shambles and thinks it's her fault that all of this happened, and I'm feeling numb and don't know what to do. Right here, what he's doing is Darvo in action. He's the one throwing things. He's the one slamming things in all of this, hollering at people, cussing at folks over something that's not even their fault. And he says that he's reversed victim. He's now the victim, talking about she should have calmed him down, not taking any responsibility
this is the kind of stuff
for
like
himself.
it's like I don't want to listen to this kind of stuff because I feel like it's just to me, like even listening to it, it's just like okay, dark. It's basically manipulation. So it's just like okay, just don't get manipulated. And I feel like the solution, you just gotta know who you are, know what you're gonna put up with, know what you're not gonna put up with. Like, what are you even asking the internet for? It's like that's the problem. Like, it's easy to be, it's easier to victim blame women in this world. Um, it's easier to victim blame the woman because men refuse to change, and that doesn't make it right. But it's like there's no what is the other alternative if someone keeps doing harmful stuff and they won't stop no matter how much you beg or plead, no matter how illegal it is, they still keep doing the bad things. So that becomes you can't expect the person to stop doing bad things. You have to be the one to not deal with somebody who clearly keeps doing bad things. So eventually, you just have to. That's the only way. Like if like how many times are we just gonna tell the different stories of, oh, a man did this, a man did this, man did this, and it's like, yeah, there's a common denominator there. Men keep doing stuff, but you still keep dealing with them. You still keep fucking with them. You still keep having their kids. You still keep taking care of them. You still keep trusting them, believing that they're actually gonna love you even after them showing for decades that that's not the case. For centuries, men have shown that they don't just love women. That's why so many women have stories to tell. So eventually, we will have to realize, because what most women have done, they're trying to figure out how they can be the special one, how they can be the chosen one. How can they survive men's bad behavior? You know, so it's about changing yourself, coddling men, lowering your standards, lowering your expectations. You gotta always operate from the defense as a woman who decides to date a man because it's not safe, and it has proven to not be safe. So if nobody can keep feeling bad for you because you choose to do things that are unsafe, you know, that's like saying like, oh, I ran into a busy freeway and then I got hit by a car, and it's like, yeah, well, don't run into a freeway, don't run into oncoming traffic, so you can decrease your, you know, chances of that happening. But that's not what's happening. People are doing the same shit again and again. And what do they keep doing? They keep trusting a man. That's the root of all of it. I trusted a man, he fucked me over. So don't trust a man. People act like that's not an option. Like it is. It's not. People act like it's not an option. Women act like it's not an option to not trust men. But men date you, men fuck you, men marry you when they don't trust you. And I've talked to hundreds of different men who are married and who are in relationships who openly admit they don't trust women. But they still date them, they still fuck them, but they understand how to move with them. I can get off on you, but that doesn't mean I have to love you, I don't have to like you, and I don't have to trust you. Women think if I'm gonna let a man into my life and into my body and into my mind, if I am gonna have kids with him, if I'm gonna have a relationship with him, I need to trust him. But then they believe that that means that they have to be trustworthy as well. And then sometimes women think the more trustworthy of a person you are to a man, it means the more trustworthy he's going to be towards you. When you're just showing him your desire to want to be trusted. So he's going to take advantage of that. Okay, how can I play her? How can I get her to try to trust me? But he's not going to trust you. You know? So it's already happening where so many people, they don't want to hear the complaints anymore at this point. And that's where it's always going to be a downfall for a woman. Because really, people shouldn't be getting irritated. Because they are. Like, if a woman talks now about her abuse or whatever, then people will literally be like, okay, well, are you leaving him or not? Like, shut up, we don't care. And it's understandable why, because it's like, otherwise, you're just going to keep crying about it, but you want to keep staying. So, what do you want us to do about that? If the man that you love so bad don't even give a fuck about your tears, why should we? If he loves you, I don't. You cooking for him, cleaning for him, fucking him. You being a good wife or a good girlfriend for him, and he still don't give a fuck about you. So why should I, as a stranger, give a fuck about you? But they're trying to garner. Isn't that crazy that people try to garner sympathy from strangers online instead of the people, and then they won't do shit for strangers online. But you see how you will overexert yourself for a man who don't even give a fuck about you? That you have to try to cry to the internet just for him like to care about you? That's weird. You have 4 kids with him and he doesn't give a fuck about you. And that's the truth of a lot of relationships. Women don't require men to give a fuck about them. They will love somebody, marry somebody, be in a relationship with somebody who literally doesn't even show them the basics of human decency and kindness. And then they just say, oh, that's just how it is. That's just the cost of having a man. And then they want to cry about it afterwards. But you knew what you were getting into. He's never respected you at all in your whole relationship. Then your complaint 6 years later is that he never respected you. Yeah, he hasn't been respecting you, but you just been putting up with it. So if you don't want to put up with it, the answer wouldn't be beg for him to give a fuck about you. Stop letting him disrespect you. Because now you know what it comes with. You know staying with him equals disrespect. So if you're okay with that, then keep it up. If you're not okay with that, break up with him. I'm not saying it's easy to break up with him. And that's another part. That's the most dangerous time for a woman is when she's trying to leave. Once you already invite a man into your life, you already made a mistake. That's the truth. Because then trying to get rid of him, you could die. He might just kill you. But comes down to a bigger issue of how unsafe women are engaging with men that like, and then the options are supposed to be, oh, well, just don't date at all. And that's just stupid because in a world where allegedly men and women are supposed to date each other, it doesn't make sense that women have to make the decision to say they don't want to date men because men consistently keep harming them. Men are not having to make that decision. Men aren't having to say, oh, you know what, women are killing men too much, so let me stop dating. No, men are like, she keeps wearing whole dresses. That's men's complaint. She's posting for attention online. She has too many options. She thinks she's too beautiful. She won't obey and listen to every little thing that I say and do. She won't let me be the king of the castle. It's not fair. Why do women get to think for themselves? That's men's complaints. And women are like, yeah, I think I'm not going to date because I don't want a man to kill me. I don't want to be raped. I don't want to get my ass beat. So let me take a break from dating. That's completely different realms. And even though women make it as easy as possible to be with, they do everything to make men so comfortable and it's still not enough. Let them tell it. Good women don't even exist. That's the funny part. And now it's live and direct from straight out of men's mouth. They say good women don't even exist. Yet they won't leave women alone. That's the difference too. Men will say, oh, there's no good women. But you never hear men saying, I'm going to take a break from dating. No, because they don't have a reason to. Or else So I don't really care to listen to things like this, but because it shouldn't always have to be just victim blaming, like, oh, just stop. But at some point, you realize there's not really a choice. Like, there's no. I think the most dangerous lie that a lot of women live by is believing there's like a secret recipe to getting a man or something. And there's not a secret recipe. It's easy to get a man. And it's even easier to keep a man. I don't get what that was never a challenge. If you want a man, be useful. Because that's all they want to do is use you. So if you're okay with being used, then do that. It's simple. You want to keep him, just be willing to put up with anything and everything that he wants you to put up with. Don't ask questions. Trust him. Just listen to what he says. Just do what he says. It's not hard. You just got to give up all your autonomy. It's easy. And always be trying. Always keep trying to please him, to keep him happy. Just listen to what he says. It's so easy. Now, it's going to be up to you whether you finally realize that giving all that up is fucking pointless. That a man is not worth your autonomy. Unless it is, then go off. But it's easy. Mm. You're it's just I can't keep at the same time. There are just so many different factors at play, and I think the most it's also dangerous is the considering like, it annoys me at the same time. It annoys me, but then at the same time, it's like I realize like I have to stop being so frustrated about things because it's not up to me. Like I said, there's so many factors at play. Like even the concept of like people don't realize there's certain women, for example, they're trying to get on the same accord when it comes to dating. They're trying to like we can't have a girl code because we're already so divided, if that makes sense. Um if you're gonna date, do you have to like the whole concept of like rules and like all this stuff? Okay, everybody has been taught to date differently. For example, the men have divided it up so that they have convinced some women, for example, that beauty matters, you know. So they told a lot of the unattractive women that looks don't matter. Or even that looks equate to being stupid. It means you're evil. You know what I'm saying? They've basically weaponized women's beauty for some. So, but it also is used as a measurement tool for women who are unattractive. So, women who are unattractive, they're being told the reason why we're treating you like shit is because you're not attractive enough to be treated good. So then women settle for that. But then they also simultaneously will demonize out of jealousy women who are attractive because then they look at it like, oh, she's looks better, which would mean she's being treated better because he says the reason why he's treating me like shit is because I don't look as good. So this is what then justifies the mistreatment of, for example, beautiful women. And other women will support it and say, well, that's just the name of the game. Yeah, you may be attractive, but what they'll try to tell you is that but attractive women, they may get so-called treated better because of their attraction, but only to the extent of sleeping with them. So then they'll say, yeah, she's only good for being fucked. So then unattractive women then come in again and they say, oh, see, yeah, you don't have one up on me because even though you're more beautiful, I'm more likely to be a wife because beautiful women are evil. They're just gold diggers. They just want to use you. They're not real. They'll cheat on you, which is crazy. But this is the narrative. That's what people like. It's just annoying because you're not really fighting against the truth. What you're fighting against is lies that have been made up by patriarchy. And that's what patriarchy is. It's just a mass delusion. So everybody who believes in that, they're all delusional. That's why it's only held up by lies. That's why they can just literally say anything, make anything up. And the whole point is to keep women arguing. It's about keeping women hating each other so they never realize that the true problem is men. So we're supposed to be fighting with each other, proving that we can get chosen by a man. But that's the problem the whole time. But not everybody's gonna understand that because some people it just we're never gonna be able to get on the same page because of the division. And the division is not only between women, but it's women are being taught to be divided against themselves. So it all goes back to power and identity because women collectively not knowing who they are and then collectively being told that the only way they can become anything is if they're a wife or a mother, being told even biological kind of lies and being manipulated into believing that all they should aspire to in life is being a wife or a girlfriend. That's just the truth. Like, there's many women who they have no identity outside of being in a relationship, and that's their goal. So their whole identity hinges on whether or not a man wants to sleep with them or whether a man wants to marry them. And it's so fragile and silly because he might marry you, but that doesn't mean he won't sleep with somebody else. Doesn't mean that he won't cheat on you. But you see how that's even been, there's been a lie and a manipulation that is used to support that, of saying even when a man cheats, it's just the woman's fault. It's either what the woman didn't do, what she's not doing, or the woman who he cheats with, she's just like an evil Jezebel who like lured a man into doing something against his will. She just a homewrecker. But these are the delusional lies that women even have to live by so that they can continue to justify being in a relationship with a man. So this is why at some point it doesn't make sense to like, it's not about logic. Some people try to make it seem like it's about logic, like, oh, you gotta like wake people up to the truth. There's really no truth for people to wake up to. Um, because that's not what people want. People don't want truth. People want comfort, and people want identity. So if the only way you can gain identity is through a man, it doesn't matter what the reality is. It doesn't matter what the true reason the man is doing what he's doing or treating you how he's treating you. It's just easier to believe whatever you want to believe. That's the point. It doesn't have to be a rhyme or a reason. So that's why even like you get what I'm saying, even the concept of, oh, like the concept of like 50-50. People talk about 50-50, for example, as though it's an option. Then they try to say that there's something wrong with you if you are going 50-50, for example. Some women are only ever going to be able to go 50-50. Some women have to pay the man to be with them. But the way this is also further broken down, they'll tell you that it's because of looks. That's why they try to look for ugly women to fund their life. Because they think, oh, well, she's going to be so insecure and so desperate for a man, and nobody else wants her. So if I just, give her a little attention, a little dick, she'll do anything for me. And that is a tale as old as time. It's worked in a lot of ways, right? But there's certain women who've never had to do that. There's certain women who have never had to buy a man. There's certain women, men are like, what there's certain men who all they want to do is buy a woman. Sometimes there's men who don't even feel like they're allowed to talk to a woman unless they're buying her something, doing something for her. There's women who don't know anything about that kind of life. It's a foreign concept to them, so they would have to pay. To them it wouldn't make sense, like a man just buying you something just because you are pretty or just because he wants to sleep with you. No, because he looks at you as you're ugly and you're willing to give it up for nothing, so he doesn't care to buy you anything, right? You're gonna give it up for free. You're gonna give it up in the name of love. That's the broke man's gag. But then you feel special about it because you're like, oh, well, he actually really loves me. That's why he's not doing anything for me. So that's why it's prostitution. But then they'll say that, oh, they'll try to look down on the sex workers, and they'll say, oh, you're sleeping with a man for money. That's something's wrong with you. But they don't think there's anything wrong with sleeping with a man for free. Because in their mind, they're saying, oh, well, he's sleeping with me for free because of love. But then that's why he's also paying a prostitute using your rent money, your family's food money. He's using your money to buy prostitutes. But he loves you, so I guess that's better. That's okay. And so that also reveals there's people out here they have different motives. Every woman isn't dating men for money. And so those will be the women saying, oh, well, he loves me. But you don't understand, not everyone is out for love. And that's the thing that they don't get a lot of times, too. It oftentimes be unattractive women who are always talking about love. Cause yeah, for you to not be attractive and for somebody to be with you in a relationship, it would have to be because of love. Cause it's not because of how you look, but the concept of, well, he loves me enough to overlook my ugliness. But then they'll accept and say, oh, well, he loves the. It's like they prey on insecure or people who don't fit a certain appearance, because then those women can tell themselves, they can feel grateful that, like, even though they're not attractive, somebody still wants to be with them. But they don't realize that this is why a lot of attractive women, why they don't even believe in love all the time. If the whole world is literally saying you're nothing more than a fuck toy, so why would there be love? Like, what would be the significance if nobody actually wants to get to know who you are? If nobody actually cares about you as a person, everybody already assumes you're stupid. Everybody already assumes you aren't capable of doing anything. Everybody already assuming you're evil or you're gonna be a cheater or that you already have so many guys over you, and everybody's so insecure that they don't even think they'll be good enough for you. So you're never seen as an equal. If the whole world puts you on a pedestal, yeah, you're gonna have no choice but to realize that love doesn't exist because you're basically just a mythical creature to people. And that's what people don't realize. There's a privilege there, right? And that's why I say people have to date differently because most women who are average looking, nobody's putting them on a pedestal and viewing them as a mythical creature. Maybe as a like an appliance, like an object, but being used for what you do is different from being used for what you look like, so to speak. Because if you don't want to be used for what you can do, then just don't do it. Nobody's holding a gun in your head. But when someone's dating you only because of how you look like, they don't even want you to do anything. They're not even looking to be used. They're using you just by your appearance and the proximity towards you. But then they hate you for it. They hate that they don't have anything to hold against you. So then that's why they end up spending the whole relationship trying to humble you, trying to make you insecure, trying to get you from day one, just based off of how you look. It becomes a game of, let me make sure that this person doesn't feel good about themselves every single day so that they never think that they can do better than me. Let me break them down so they never feel like they can leave me. Just because of how you look. That doesn't happen with ugly women. Ugly women come in, they hope. The hope is they already come in insecure. And that shows in their desperation and their auditioning process. So they already know if the belief systems of the world already got to you, if you're already coming in trying to so-called be a wifey, offering yourself up as being useful, if you're already doing that, then they already know you're playing the auditioning game. It's not lost on them. So they already know 50% of the work is done. All they got to do is just be kind of nice to you, fill your head with a little bit of sweet nothings, and most likely you're not going to go anywhere. But then it becomes, well, let's see, it's then a test of, well, how desperate can we get her? So that always has to be accounted for. They always have to check that either way. You're willing to play the game, but are you willing to give up any autonomy? Are you willing to give up any kind of confidence or humanity that you're still clinging on to for some reason? And are you willing to debase yourself and humiliate yourself just to say you have a relationship? So this is where the cheating will start, or even abuse. It's all about control. It's hard. It's only hard to control a beautiful woman. That's why they don't want you to know that you're beautiful. But the truth is that no, and that's what I'm saying. The looks are just an illusion. That's the part that a lot of people don't understand. That it has nothing to do with looks, actually. Men don't care about looks. That seems like the case, but I promise you it's not. Because number one, men will fuck anything. If anybody's useful enough to a man, they will use them. It's about the truth of how to sustain. It's about how much do you hate yourself. That's what's really being measured. And not even about hating yourself, but it's more about how much do you don't know, how much do you not know yourself. Whether you're single or in a relationship, it has nothing to do with if you're attractive, whether you can cook, clean, whether you're loyal. It doesn't matter about none of that. As long as you're not loyal to yourself, you can have a relationship. That's really what the goal is. It's about how little do you know yourself and how much are you trying to find yourself in a man. That is a consistent theme across every single individual, every single woman who's in a relationship. A woman in a relationship oftentimes doesn't know herself. That's why the relationship can work. That's why she will put up with things inside a relationship, because she don't know what she truly deserves, what she truly wants. She don't know um, if she should be putting up with something or not. She don't know what her boundaries are. She doesn't know herself. She's finding herself in the relationship. But you're supposed to already know yourself. But that's what I'm saying is how men are preying on you. They don't want you to know yourself, and they want to be the ones to tell you who you are, which is the reason why they also like to prey on young women. That's why they say, oh, you lose you once you hit like 25, 30, whatever, you fall off. Well, because that's typically when women start in society. They've gotten, most women by the age of 25, 30, 40 years old, they've gotten fucked over by enough men to have been forced into finding themselves. Because before it was all lies. It was men trying to tell them who they needed to be, what they needed to settle for, what should be okay, what treatment they should be willing to receive. And it was really just men trying to see what they could get away with. So if women accepted that and said, okay, you keep beating me, you keep cheating on me, you whatever the case is, if you believe a man when he treats you like that, then you say, okay, then that's who you understand yourself to be. You're someone worth being cheated on. You're someone worth getting beat. You're someone who doesn't deserve respect. You should be used and you just overexert. Just keep doing and doing. So men will tell you who you are when you don't know. And if you go along with it, you're agreeing. And then that's who you believe yourself to be. So it's literally sick. But if a woman sees these things happening, and her intuition is ultimately saying something about this doesn't feel right, something about this doesn't seem okay. And if a woman can finally understand, you know what, I don't deserve this treatment. So now she's been able to find more about who she is by understanding what she does not tolerate. Okay, so that's why then women end up being considered used up, or that there's something wrong with them, or that they don't they're basically beyond their prime once they start hitting around 25, 30, 40 years old. Is because by then you probably have gotten fucked over by enough men to finally start understanding what you do deserve and what you don't deserve. Before, it was easy to manipulate you and lie and trick you when you believed in the fairy tale of love. But the more that you were seeing red flags, the more you start recognizing certain patterns and behaviors and mistreatment, you became wiser. And it's coincidental that as you become wiser as a woman, you become more useless to a man. They want you dumb because that's easier to fuck you over. So this is why they prey on younger women. And then where they do it is they help to fuel this competition between younger women and older women, so that when the older women try to warn the younger women, the younger women don't believe it. They just, because they're saying, oh, you're just an old bitter lady and you just don't want me to have my Prince Charming. You don't want me to have my happily ever after. And unfortunately, there's nothing that you could say, because it's true. There is a part of truth in there. Older women don't want young women to get the fairy tale, because that's a fairy tale that was promised to them as well that they never received. They had to learn the hardest way possible that the fairy tale doesn't exist. At this point, they need for the fairy tale to not exist, because it wouldn't be fair for you to be freshly 18 and be able to get the fairy tale when they're 50 years old and all they've done is kiss frogs all their life. And there's so many factors, that also play into it. It's not even just about who you are, woman or not. That's why oppression plays a big part into it as well. It's about oppression in general. That's why patriarchy is just a part of the oppression system. But patriarchy relies on things like class and sexism and racism as well, for example, because then that's setting the standard already of saying if you're a certain race, not only do you not deserve respect because you're a woman, but if you're a certain race of woman, if you're a certain class of woman, if you're a woman who looks a certain way, well, you also don't deserve respect even more. So it's all this. The whole point is to create as many barriers between you and humanity as possible, and that's the devaluation that we play into when we do separate ourselves and we say someone like, why are we even saying that at all, that some people deserve humanity and some people don't? The whole concept doesn't make any sense, because then it's always the ones who don't, they're always the ones who end up on the side of not deserving humanity. It's always over something stupid. Oh, they're ugly, so they don't deserve humanity. But this man can literally rape 400 different people, and oh, well, he's just a troubled guy. But if a woman is just simply attractive, she's a villain. That's the video we just seen. This man is cheating on his wife, and then the side chick is essentially saying, "I'm not gonna stop seeing the husband." But the evil person in that, according to all the women, the evil person is not the cheating husband. It's the side chick that won't stop being the side chick. She's evil because she's tempting the man into sleeping with her. It's some kind of trick. Like, that's what I'm saying of how they weaponize beauty. Oh, her beauty is she's a Jezebel. She's a beautiful Jezebel who's luring men into seducing men into wanting to sleep with her, wanting to be with her. It's weird how they demonize women. But the man who can't stop sleeping and cheating on you, you don't have any names for him. He's just a victim who's been seduced by the wiles of an evil, beautiful woman. So it's not his fault. He's the victim here. It's his fault. It's not his fault for succumbing to the sexual wiles of a beautiful woman. It's her fault for being so beautiful. And then that's why when they'll say, "Oh, well, that you gotta take the wig off, take the makeup off, stop showing your body." You're tempting the man, but when the child that the man won't stop fucking is when the person that the man won't stop fucking is, a 10-year-old child, a 14-year-old girl, do you know that the world still will say it's the girl's fault? She was too fast. She was being fast. She was forcing himself on a man. So men are supposed to be leaders. Men are supposed to be so logical, but they don't even have enough strength to keep their dick in their pants in regard to a 15-year-old girl. Babies even. So this is a deep issue. Yet these are the same women, they'll blame the side chick. It's never the man's fault, but then they'll go and spend the rest of it. When they find the girl that your man is cheating on you with, they become obsessed with her. They start following her on social media, they stalking her page every single day. They become so obsessed with her, trying to figure out what does she have that I don't have. And these are the same women that will try to say, "Oh, she ugly as hell." But then I thought the whole reason why he was with you as a wife is because you're ugly. Men are not marrying beautiful women. They marry the ugly woman that they know is going to stay home and shut the fuck up so he can go sleep with the women that he really wants to. That's the point of it. So you're trying to say how she's ugly, and then that's why he shouldn't sleep with her. But it doesn't matter if she's ugly or not. He slept with her. But that's the delusion that women have to make up. Convincing yourself that, oh, she's not as attractive as me. So, hey, I still have a one up on her. But your attraction, your so called attraction, you're so much more attractive than she is. But it wasn't enough to keep him at home, was it? He still went and slept with someone you said is ugly. So clearly you weren't enough. So what does it, that's what I'm saying, what does it matter about if you're attractive or not? It doesn't. That's just a lie, and it's a distraction to keep people focused on the wrong thing and to keep women in competition with each other. But there's women who like that. They like the competition. So unfortunately, sometimes all you can do is just play along, right? You have to figure out where you fit in this world. Figure out how you thrive. That's the only way you can survive a world where men are. Figure out what your leverage is, what can you leverage, and then that's the role that you literally are gonna have to play for survival. Because unfortunately, 95% of the time you're not gonna be able to have 98% of the time, 99% of the time, you're not gonna be able to have women as allies because first of all, the reason why patriarchy has lasted so long is because patriarchy has allies, and it's not just men. Women are allies of patriarchy as well. We help to fuel patriarchy in different ways, right? But one of the most efficient tools of patriarchy that helps patriarchy to persist, it does have to do with the competition between women, but that's why most women who date men, they hate women. So you seen yesterday on my live, there was a woman, and when a woman, she was basically berating me for a man, trying to put me down, and then another woman came and was defending me, and then the woman who was berating me, she was saying that the girl who was defending me was a lesbian, saying, "Oh, you must like women because she's standing up for women." But and then the man is just sitting back there laughing, watching it all happen. So I noticed that, and I just wanted to see how it was going to play out or whatever the case is. But that's the truth. Like, they'll try to convince you, like, oh, if you are showing support to a woman, it's because you're gay. So if you want to show that you are not gay, if you have solidarity towards a man, and that's what you care about, then you have to be on the man's side. But it's funny because it doesn't go the same way for men, because men are allowed to suck the dicks of other men, and we're not allowed to call them gay, even though it happens, and rightfully so. But that's just looked at, the men's solidarity with men is looked at as that's just a byproduct of patriarchy, and so it's accepted. Yeah, of course a man would want to be friends or have community with men over women because Men are awesome. It's patriarchy. But men will go and say, "Oh, you can't listen to your single girlfriends, right? Oh, you don't be good. Hey, you can't hang out with women who are like this or this, like, because birds of a feather flock together until it's a man who all of his friends cheat except for him, allegedly. And we're not, nobody is allowed to say you shouldn't be hanging with these men because they're bad men. You're supposed to overlook the bad things that men do because friendship is more important. So even if he cheats, even if he's a woman beater, even if he's a bad influence, right? He's in and out of prison, he says negative things. Even if a man is like that, women are supposed to look at it like, oh, well, men can overlook the character flaws of a man because male friendship is important. But for a woman, we're not supposed to overlook the things that our girlfriends do because then that taints us by proximity. Does that even make sense? Women can be tainted by the actions of other women's actions, but men will say not all men. Men are not tainted by the negative actions of men, even if they're the ones doing it, because it's always going to be a woman's fault. So that's what I don't get it. Oh, so y'all met at the strip club, but now you need to cut off your friend of 10, 12, 13 years. You need to cut off your girlfriend of 10, 12, 13 years because now you're in a relationship and she's still going to the club. But didn't y'all meet in the club? He found you in the club. Now you're not allowed to go to the club anymore, but you're also not allowed to hang out with your friend who still is single and still going to the club because that's going to be a bad influence on you. And you're not to be trusted as a woman. You see how it is? They try to act like, "Oh, we want women who aren't stupid." But what that doesn't make sense. You don't even trust women to be around other women without her succumbing to the belief systems of other women because you know how susceptible she is. You're praying and hoping she doesn't to have a mind of her own. Do you get that? That's why men don't want you around certain things and hearing certain things because they see women as very stupid and impressionable, but they want to be the ones to imprint on you. They don't want you hearing nothing or seeing nothing, thinking nothing. That's why they hate male rap as well, like female rap and stuff. They don't like you listening to certain music, watching certain TV shows. They don't, nothing that doesn't benefit them. They criticize everything that tries to shed any kind of light on what the manipulation that they're doing because they know how impressionable you are. But they want you to remain impressionable so you can learn about how to cater to them. Learn how to change yourself. Learn how to only want to be a wife and a mother and modest and only being, even religion. That's why too. Religion is a part of that whole programming. Yes, you are just a rib. You're just a rib. You are a helpmate. It's a God, like, and that was blowing me. This lady, she was talking about, she was warning against Jezebel women and saying, oh, if he's taunting if a Jezebel woman is taunting a married man and tricking him into sleeping with her, she's the one that's going to be punished. She will pay, like, they're trying to use religion as a fear tactic to try to control women who are married and women who aren't married by saying, oh, well, if you're a Jezebel and you are using your feminine wiles, the Lord is going to strike you down for tempting a married man because this is why she said, because you're messing with a God ordained relationship. So in her mind, the relationship is God ordained, even though the man keeps cheating on her. But the man cheating is not the problem. It's the woman who is tempting her man to cheat that is ruining the God-ordained relationship. But why would God ordain you to be with the man who keeps cheating on you? Exactly. I'm just trying to give myself a pep talk before I go live and everything because it's very irritating, you know. People are irritating, and I'm just trying to remind myself to get in where I fit in. Um, don't love these hoes, and let these hoes love me. That's the motto. Um, I want to yesterday, and I want to be mindful as well because of yesterday of kind of being tricked into believing that women's solidarity was a thing. And you got to be up on game with that because women view other women as competition, especially if whether it doesn't matter if they're married or not, doesn't matter if they're related or not. If a man, if a woman dates men, there's like a 99% chance she views any other woman alive as a competition. Now, women will try to convince themselves that a woman is not competition because, oh, well, she's not beautiful, or she's not a certain race, or this doesn't seem to be his. She's so worried about is the girl his type. It's such low level thinking, honestly. They think that that's all it takes to get. They think that's what it takes to get a man, and that's interesting that they would think that highly of themselves in the first place. So you think that the man only cares about looks, right? And you think he's gonna choose you. Eek. So he only cares about appearance, looks, physicality, and you think you were the best option for that. It's delusional. And that's why women have to stop hating each other. If women stop hating each other, they will realize how delusional they were. Because if you just weren't a hating ass bitch, you will understand there's so many beautiful women. So why would you think you're not the hottest woman? It's just the truth. Like I don't get women feel like they have to be like, oh, I'm just the best woman in existence, and they think that's gonna save them from getting cheated on. Instead, understand there's a lot of beautiful women. It's not that difficult to do. Like I don't get that. There's a lot of beautiful women, and frankly, if your man had the opportunity, he would probably fuck a lot of them. And that's why I'm saying, look, right? It's about motive. If that's your point of being in a relationship is because you only want your man to fuck with you, that's stupid. Especially when that's not gonna happen. That doesn't happen for a lot of people. Like I'm not saying everybody's gonna get cheated on, but I feel like hinging your relationship and your identity on whether or not one man only wants to sleep with you forever, that's stupid. What the hell? I don't get that. It's delusional, is what I'm saying. People think just because other people get in a relationship that their dick stop working. Like, trust me, babe. Even if he's married, his dick still may work. That's it. You're questioning the loyalty of someone. Are they gonna stay? Even if their dick doesn't stop getting hard, are they gonna be loyal to you? And some women waste time hinging their identity on like, oh, this will he even want to do it? But it's like it's more about will he get caught? That's mostly their determination factor, you know. Or if they were to get caught, are you gonna leave them or not? So I just think if we can understand, it's pretty and that's the I just hate the delusion because it's like when you do that, right? When you say, "Oh, I'm the baddest bitch in the world. My man is never gonna cheat on me." Those are the same women who never look because they don't even want to conceive the possibility of being cheated on. So you're not looking. You're ignoring things. You know he out all the hours of the night, but in your mind, oh, I'm the baddest bitch. I'm the baddest bitch. He never would turn anywhere. But the whole time he's out already fucking somebody else. But you're not even asking questions because then he'll come to you and say, oh, what, you don't trust me? You don't trust me? Or you insecure? And that's what I don't understand. Insecurity became like a woman issue. Well, first of all, men are insecure. That's why they use all these type of fear tactics to try to keep a woman. Men literally took away women's ability to even be able to provide on the level, right? Once upon a time, men literally participate in a global system to separate women or to remove power away from women. Because they're afraid that if a woman had power, if a woman had her own say so, if a woman didn't have to be in a relationship with a man, if a woman were confident in herself, they're afraid that they're so insecure that they don't think a woman would even want to be with them. So they do everything in their power to break down a woman physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, just to rip her down to nothingness so she doesn't think she can ever do better than being abused or being mistreated. So how is that not insecure? Men do everything to make other women insecure because the truth is they're the ones who don't want to get left. But they still want you to believe in the fairy tale. Because if you try not to, then they'll be like, oh, don't think negative about it. They use the fear of relationships being bad to keep you from trying to go somewhere else. But when you try to use the fear and the negativity of being in a relationship to justify why you don't want to be in a relationship, they'll say something's wrong with you. So it's like you're wrong for trying to go to a different, you're wrong when you decide to not be in a relationship. As long as you're willing to see the danger, see the issues, but as long as you're still willing to put up with the problems, you're okay. Just don't think you're okay enough to be able to get more than what you got. Don't expect anything, but tolerate the bad. They don't ever want you to learn is the point too. Every single situation is supposed to be a clean slate. You're not allowed to recognize behaviors. You're not allowed to recognize similarities between one man and another. You're not allowed to pay attention to the fact that all men are saying the same thing, they're doing the same thing. They all work from the same handbook. You're not supposed to notice that. You're supposed to pretend like every man is a Prince Charming. So everybody is not gonna understand this. Everybody doesn't go about it. So that's why you just gotta let people deal with the situation that they know how to deal with their situations the way that they know how to deal with their situations, right? because that's what everyone's going to be subjected to. So that's why I had to realize, even like, mm, mm, mm. I've noticed that as well too. Of like, when it comes to attention, people underestimate how important attention is for a lot of people. And there are certain people who that attention, they don't get the same attention, right, as some other people. So like the concept of like, oh yeah, there's always going to be somebody wanting me. There's always going to be somebody trying to get with me. Not because you're doing anything, but even just off the strength of like just your appearance. There's women who don't get complimented every single day. There's women who don't. There's not always somebody ready and willing to do something for them. So when they meet a guy who is willing to take them on a date or compliment them, that's new to them. And it means everything. So that's what I say of like, people are dating differently, and you can't expect everybody to be on the same level. You can't expect for everybody to have the same kind of confidence in the sense of being able to say, oh well, yeah, this is just one out of a million. Not everybody has that. For some people, when someone's not, so especially like a guy, and because like guys often what they will do and how they've trained a lot of women is like, if you aren't attractive, they won't be nice to you. Do you get that? So where another woman who is attractive, she might have more of a concept that says, oh, men are like really nice. And then that's why sometimes they'll have been attractive, but say they gain some weight or something, or they somehow become ugly. Then they'll notice the difference, like, whoa, men are really mean. So for some people, they never had that nice side of men. It's always been cruel. It's always been they're cruel. It's always they're being mean. It's always they're making fun of them. So when they meet one guy who is actually nice, yeah, that seems like, wow, this really is a Prince Charming. This really is a good guy. But they don't, you know what I'm saying? So trying to convince someone that one person who's nice to her, the one man who's nice to her is a villain, yeah, good luck with that. Because she knows the difference. She knows what a villain looks like. She's experienced that. The one guy who's actually being nice to her, yeah, she's not gonna see him that way. But it will only come from a woman who knows about the so-called niceness of a man. If you're more attractive, yeah, the odds of having come across a lot of men who are nice to you is very possible. Men that are nice to you, men that just want to buy you, buy things for you, do things for you. And that's why sometimes with women like who are beautiful, it's when a man is mean to you that feels different. That's refreshing for some women because it's like, oh wow, one guy who isn't like completely enamored by my beauty off the bat, and he isn't just seeing me as an object, he isn't just obsessed with me. Like, do you know the life of talking to a man and he just becomes mesmerized with your face? And he doesn't hear anything you say. He doesn't care what you say. And all he can say is, "You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful." So then when you meet a guy who he doesn't care anything about your looks, he doesn't give you special privileges, he doesn't treat you different just because of your looks. He actually listens to you. He actually, you know, is asking questions about you. Seems so small, but that's everything to somebody who is used to just being seen as an object. So trying to convince that person that that one guy is a monster, good luck with that. Even when, yeah, that is just another part of the game. Don't let them know how attractive they are, right? And that's a whole game. Don't tell them how attractive they are. Basically, ignore how attractive they are to make them think that you actually care about them as a person, even if your real goal is just sleep with them. So, not everybody is dating, not everybody can date the same. Not everybody can interact with people the same. So, you got to figure out how it is that you need to interact. And then that's just the game that you're going to have to play. So you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't have to use the same survival tools because we're not all being attacked the same way. That's what makes it so successful. And that's why everything is up for attack, while also everything can be seen as a positive as well. So the ways that you fail, the ways that you aren't like a standout, for example, you can pride yourself on being a standout in a different way. And then what it is that you are, someone else is already being, what it is that you're trying to become, someone else is already being criticized for just being that. And they're being told they have to be something different. And you're being told if you become that, you're not going to be subjected to the same pains anymore. So that's very sick. That's very sinister.
Yeah, they didn't see this coming.
18-year-old white boy beats an African teacher to death. He goes to jail and is immediately released to his mother without bail. And here it is, a white person that is actually an adult being tried as a child after killing someone. He didn't even have a bail. No bail, no bond. He was released to his mother because she said she was going to keep an eye on him after he beat an African man to death. Now, where are the Africans at? Because I remember just a couple of months ago, it was the Black Americans who were these gangsters and thugs and horrible people, and y'all was licking and kissing whitey ass. And now one of them killed y'all and got off and they did shit. I want to hear the African noise. Where's the African noise? I want to hear it. Are y'all ready to join? Or y'all still doing y'all? 18-year-old white boy beats an African teacher to death. He goes to jail and is immediately released to his mother without bail. And here it is, a white person that is actually an adult being tried as a child after killing someone. He didn't even have a bail. No bail, no bond. He was released to his mother because she said she was going to keep an eye on him after he beat an African man to death. Now, where are the Africans at? Because I remember just a couple of months ago, it was the Black Americans who were these gangsters and thugs and horrible people, and y'all was licking and kissing whitey ass. And now one of them killed y'all and got off and they did shit. I want to hear the African noise. Where's the African noise? I want to hear it. Are y'all ready to join? Or y'all still doing y'all? 18-year-old white boy beats an African teacher to death. He goes to jail and is immediately.
Bring up years ago. So I keep debating. The girlies cannot leave their home without a full beat on, and y'all are still walking around acting like beauty practices are equitable. Y'all are still walking around like telling little girls that they need to be wearing makeup, that they need to lose weight, that they need to get their bodies right, get a body tea. Why am I hearing 12-year-olds talk about body tea, right? That you think that this is nothing, that this means nothing, right? First of all, the thing I hate about this whole liberal feminist concept that everything needs to come down to personal choice. A choice that a woman makes is inherently feminist because a woman is making that choice, right? It didn't ask any further questions. It doesn't ask about context. It doesn't ask about socialization. The thing I hate about that is that men are getting away scot-free. They're getting away scot-free. The way in which men have created patriarchy, okay, not individual men, have created a multi-billion, multi-trillion, dollar industry surrounding beauty practices. And I hone in on beauty practices because it's something that I think everyone has a relationship with. And I think that it is exactly where we are taught, at least women in the West, to put all of our attention and investment into as a means of keeping us small, as a means of keeping us distracted, right? I grew up, so a lot of my friends' moms were those almond moms. They were the white women married to men who made very good money. They didn't work. They had that aspirational, Pilates housewife lifestyle. These are the moms that are obsessed with being really small, right? Because a part of getting women to be really invested in shrinking is getting women to demonstrate their willingness to adhere to men being the dominant one. That's why, when you have that relationship where a man is making all of the money and he has all this social cachet because he has a lot of money, he can pick the most high value woman. He's picking a woman who's going to keep herself as small as humanly possible, who's going to keep herself in line with what the dominance hierarchy is, who's going to make him look really good. That's what she's going to do. She's going to keep everything together. She's going to be very demure. She's going to be very, a very respectable woman. She's not going to push back on him. It's about making herself physically smaller so that he can be physically bigger. Once you understand that that is playing a role in this obsession with beauty, and that when you're hungry you can't really pay attention to the ways that you're being disrespected, and then you don't feel like you have space in order to push back. Once you peep that, babe, then you can't sit here and be like, oh no, but it doesn't really matter. Beauty practices don't really matter. It's all about personal choice. No, we
that they need to lose weight, that they need to get their bodies right, get a body tea. Why am I hearing 12-year-olds talk about body tea, right? That you think that this is nothing, that this means nothing, right? First of all, the thing I hate about this whole liberal feminist concept that everything needs to come down to personal choice. A choice that a woman makes is inherently feminist because a woman is making that choice, right? It didn't ask any further questions. It doesn't ask about context. It doesn't ask about socialization. The thing I hate about that is that
If you're calling,
I hate getting off of work because I'm so lonely. I hate coming home to an empty apartment and not having anyone to text.
so people are finding out that you have leverage over them. It might not be everybody. It could be certain individuals.
men only like me when I'm sick. She posted that in the 2X chromosome. So this is along the same lines as some men only like women that they can control financially, or men targeting women that might have some kind of neurodivergence or some other kind of mental issues, or men targeting women that may not have mental support. When I'm sick means someone who is not me. And the control tactic, they see someone that maybe they can dominate. But that's just what I'm thinking based on what this title alone. Let's check out her post. She says, okay, this is a heartbreaking, infuriating, sad, dumbfounding phenomenon I've noticed in my relationships that span a 25-year period of my adulthood. In two relationships, one a marriage and another a long-term committed relationship spaced over a decade apart, I was told I like you better when you are sick. What an effed up thing to say. In my most recent relationship and what has spurred this post, I wasn't told that expressly, but I got broken up with after I started feeling better. When I met him, I was dealing with some significant health issues that caused fatigue, poor concentration, dizziness, and lightheadedness. I recently started feeling better, and when we met last, I was noticeably livelier, more energetic, playful, and outgoing, and also felt excited to see him because we had traveled apart for some time, and I definitely showed it. He stopped speaking to me after this last time together. It was a 6-month relationship. I sensed he wasn't feeling it anymore because I was too much, and unlike the sick version of me, that's more subdued. As a healthy person, I'm lively, giving, outgoing, and proactively show I care. By no means obnoxious or loud or any such crazy behaviors. As a sick person, I'm quieter and more measured, and of course, I'm more vulnerable and less engaging. Because I tend to retreat into myself to lick my wounds, so to say. So what the hell is going on? Am I really this threatening when I'm healthy, strong, and capable? Does it stroke the male ego this much when I'm a wounded bird? I've always been an independent person, and this doesn't change whether I'm sick or healthy. I just carry myself differently, understandably so. I've had to take care of myself since I was 6 years old due to being born to an immature, narcissistic, emotionally and physically abusive mother. At 6 years old, no joke, I packed my school bag, walked to school, then after school walked to my extracurricular class, then walked home, cooked myself dinner, and put myself to bed. So it's difficult for me to depend on anyone. That said, I never say no to help. In fact, I appreciate it, and at times ask for it if I notice a man wants to feel useful. That whole wants to feel useful thing. It's just somehow giving help is resented when I'm healthy, but it makes them feel good when I'm sick. This is in addition to apparently not liking my personality. What the hell? This is highly upsetting to be dealing with in my 20s, 30s, and now 40s. It feels like no matter how much I work on myself, try to heal my childhood trauma, change my habits, and approach to dating, I still fall into a relationship with men who prefer the sick me. Any thoughts? Anyone been told the same by a man? How do you deal with it? I need to put a stop to this, but don't know how. Alright, just like I thought in the very beginning before even reading through the whole post, this is like when men sense whether you're just desperate for a relationship, whether you have some chaos or abuse going on at home, whether you are sick, like this person said, whether your finances might be a little bit challenging. They find ways to figure out your vulnerabilities. That is what they need to touch. That's the way they are going to dangle. You know, you are not whole in some ways, and they need to have that savior complex that says, I'm going to come in and fix that.
The only way I've learned to navigate, I feel like instead of focusing on a man, you need to focus on knowing yourself and knowing your truth, learning to trust your intuition, learning how to stay in alignment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, never give men so much power that you think that they are capable of being in control of you, that they are, you know, like don't give men so much credit of like being master manipulators, for example, or that they're so skilled in like using a woman. Like, no, they're skilled at preying on people who are too weak. So it's not that they're just so good at what they do. They're good at identifying people. It's basically like taking candy from a baby. Because the same games that men claim to be so good at, that people see men as so good at, it would never work on someone who actually knew who they were. So do you understand that? So don't be distracted thinking men have all this power. No, your power is within inside of you. When you know who you are, it doesn't matter what a man tries to say, tries to do, any ways he tries to trick you, manipulate you, to get you to do something. It doesn't matter. He can always try to do that. Your power is in who are you? Are you going to do that? Are you willing to do that? Are you going to let somebody trick you out of what you feel comfortable with, what you believe? So you have to look at men as more of helpers, if anything. Let them be people who reveal to you who you truly are. Don't look at them as, oh, they're going to tell me who I am. No, they're going to help you get closer. And the way that men often will help you is they're going to try to destroy you. That's the biggest way they help women. They will keep disrespecting you. They will keep mistreating you. They will lie to you outright. They will put you in positions to feel unsafe, uncomfortable, unwanted, and it's your job to change that. And the more you change it, what you're doing is becoming more confident in who you are. So then the next time something like that happens, somebody could try to make fun of you, like someone could try to tell you who you are, what you're not, what you're capable of, whatever. As long as you know for yourself, that's all that matters. And like they have no power over you. If people think that they're waiting on permission, if you're gonna keep waiting for permission from a man, that's why you're gonna keep getting fucked over. Let a man tell you who you are. But when you realize this, you'll understand how much power you as a woman have. Because the reason why men do that, try to tell you who you are, is because they don't actually know who they are. And they're the same way women are looking for validation and approval from men. From men. Men are looking for validation and approval in the same exact way. That's why they don't handle rejection well. Because you, especially when you're a beautiful woman, especially when you're a woman who knows herself, you hold the keys. Because when you are a person who knows yourself, period, no matter if you're a woman or a man, You are always going to be more powerful than most people because most people are seeking, they're going to be seeking you to tell them who they are. So that's everything in terms of power and in terms of identity. Who you are is the key. So if people are looking to me to tell them who they are, do you realize how much power I have? I tell you if you're relevant or not. I tell you if you matter. And some people, men especially, they literally will base their worthiness on whether or not I give them any attention. I literally can destroy a man's entire existence just by ignoring him. Because I'm not paying attention to you, you're nobody. So understand insecurity, understand what power really is, understand what's someone's weaknesses. So if I see you seeking validation from me, which all men do, I know your insecurity. Now, if I was a certain type of person, I could weaponize your insecurity against you. Right? Because I know your entire identity and existence, it hinges on me reciprocating to you, right? It relies on me engaging with you. So now I could test, what are you willing to do to get my validation? Because I'm not seeking validation from you. So you don't have that option to use for me. Why would I seek for validation from you? You are not even valid on your own right. That's why you're seeking validation from me. So this is where most people are. I already put that on. Oh, yeah. What am I missing? Okay.
And they're not doing it because they're altruistic or true heroes. They're doing it because they need a way to control you later on or to have you owe them later on.
Yeah.
This is the reason why, and I didn't used to think this, but now as we do more and more of these stories, women really do need to be healthy and whole in all ways, mentally, financially, physically, and all that before even stepping into the realm of dating. Because these dudes, they know how to exploit you. You've got to make sure your social circle, your family and friends and your support system, you got to make sure that's strong. You got to make sure that the people around you know who you are and how to get in touch with you and all of that stuff. Because they know how to exploit the people that may not have a support system, it is just always something. It is just always something. And I hate that it has to be like this, that so many of them just know how to choose women and attempt to control or manipulate in some kind of way. But this is not a post that has a whole lot of traction and a whole lot of comments. I just wanted to talk about this because it just speaks to a wider range of things. And people are, not everybody is healthy at all the time. And so this is something that somebody may have faced before. So I definitely wanted to touch on this one. Eat a lot of bread says some people only want to take care of or save their own kind of relation out of a relationship and truly couldn't care less about their partner except the thrill and satisfaction that saving a seemingly dependent person provides. And then they will break up when they can't get that feeling anymore because it's not love in the first place. It's some weird, sick ego thing. You also see it in parents that don't give a crap about their children anymore after they start becoming even slightly more independent and even start complaining that they're evil and horrible for just starting to have a real personality and identity independent from the parent. So they just make a new baby or sabotage the child. Now Mikey says, sounds like the answer is not to start new relationships while sick, but find someone who likes the well version of you. Eve Kane says, I'm currently experiencing something very similar. It's just creepy of them. And then the OP says, I'm sorry, it's so creepy, especially when it was said to me while sick with a smile on their face. And it's like some compliment, almost sinister. Yeah, because they are manipulators. Like it takes, like you would think that it would just take so much less energy to just be a decent
I just find
person.
that sentiment is bothering me. The concept of painting men as like master manipulators, and they're not. It's not hard to find. It's men are not master manipulators. Men are just date people who don't have a sense of self. And it's not hard to find when patriarchy literally built them an entire system that teaches women to not know who they are on every level. Work, school, education, within your family. That's why patriarchy does so hard to try to tell women who they are, who they're allowed to be. That's to keep you in line. So men aren't doing so much heavy lifting. They're literally in a society where women are literally told what they can't be and what they are supposed to be. You're not allowed to be confident. You're not allowed to know you're beautiful. You're not allowed to say you're beautiful because then you're not humble, and you have to be humble, and you always have to doubt your own self. You always have to doubt your skills. All of this is built into the foundation of society. Never know what you're really capable of. They say every time you see a successful man, behind him is a what? A woman who's telling him everything to fucking do, but she's not allowed to have any credit for it. The credit has to go to the man, even if everyone understands collectively it's a woman who's making this happen. So that's the world that we live in. So it's not hard. If you date someone who doesn't have a self-concept, if you date someone who's literally been told since birth that the only way that they're going to be matter in society is if they are married or have children, you're not a master manipulator. You're benefiting off of a system of oppression. Do you get that? That's such a significant thing to understand. Men are not masters at manipulation. They're not masters of control. They're not masters of power. They don't have power. They're preying on you by using a system that told you to be nothing and to obey them just for having a dick. So they're not special, and it reveals just how weak the system is because their whole system works. Patriarchy works. Patriarchy is successful as long as a woman does not actually have her own sense of self. Do you know how fragile a system like that would have to be that is dependent on you not knowing yourself to work? And the second that a woman finds out who she really is, outside of a man, all of a sudden patriarchy is struggling. All of a sudden The manipulation doesn't work. All of a sudden, the fear tactics don't work. And what's the difference? A woman knowing herself versus not knowing herself. That's a weak system. At that point, it's not, you can't even really call it a system. At that point, it just becomes a fucking suggestion. Men saying what women can and can't be, that's just a suggestion. Because I have to agree with you for that to be the case. So that's how you know not only is it just a suggestion, it's just a lie and a delusion. It's not a fact, because a fact would exist whether I agreed with you or not. No, but I have to come into an agreement. I have to come into agreement of your lack. In order to keep me down, in order to keep me away from my power, I have to consistently agree with you that I don't have any. And then I have to make the choice to live as though I have less power than you, consciously or unconsciously. So that's not a system. If it's how strong is the system if it's completely dependent upon me? I am the reason the system can exist or not. So that's not a system at all, is it? It's a suggestion. So all of this time, wasting time trying to fix women who are literally fulfilling suggestions, that's a waste of time because they clearly don't understand what they're doing. Suggestion means it's optional. So it's an option. Not a requirement. Hi. This is 100%. I'm not gonna fall out. Because I will switch to something else. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely trying to prep myself for live so I don't get caught up in the bullshit. I just have to, but I have to focus on that. Remember that. I have to remember who I am. That's always the key. Who I am. That's the key. Who I am is not about what I look like, what I do. I think that's the part people forget. Sometimes people focus on who you are as what you do, right? But who you are is also what you're unwilling to do. that you're unwilling to put up with, where you draw the line. If you are the creator, if you are the decider, this would mean you don't get to delegate your identity to someone else. You don't get to let anyone tell you who you are, tell you what you deserve, tell you what you're capable of. Because you're the one that's the creator. It's all people are doing is making suggestions. And the suggestions that they make for who you should be, what you should do, what you should entertain is limited to their own personal opinion, their own personal worldview and belief. So you don't have to listen to them. That's right. I fear I may have to. Did I finish my makeup? I need to. Real quick. Be quick. And then I'll be back.
And she's looking for more. She's still got a lot of spunk in her, and he's ready to put on his white New Balances and his black socks and his khaki shorts and go for a walk. That's where he is in life, and that's perfectly fine. But she doesn't see that for the rest of her life. This is where those age gap situations start to come into play. Because when you are in your 30s, when the relationship is in its 20s and 30s, that's one thing because you still have a lot more energy in your 30s. But then you start to get into your 50s, things start to wind down a little bit. Your values change, the things that excite you change. I get it, you change. And so she's starting to feel that age gap a little bit more. And this is human. This is what happens as we age. And so right now she needs to figure out, is it enough to to do this. I'm not going to accept this. So I get it. But it sounds like she needs to make the decision. Do I stay and just be like, or do I leave and go out and find somebody that's going to more so meet my needs? Let's check out the comments. Nellie says, I think he has done you a favor because instead of false promises, you now have all the information you need to make a decision that's right for you. Tara says, you don't need to spend the second half of your life in a loveless marriage. You have the responsibility to yourself and also an example to set for your kids to find a partner that treats you the way you want to be treated. Miss Beasley at the bottom says, you are spot on. Meeting the specific emotional needs of your partner as far as possible is a large part of marriage. What he is offering doesn't feel like or translate as love to her, meaning her needs are continually not being met. So from her perspective, it is loveless. Waluchi's tennis ball says he didn't say he didn't love her. And then RR says, but he did say he cannot love her how she wants to be loved. And now this tennis ball person, he's like, just kind of really playing with words or whatnot, saying that isn't loveless though. And like Coriander Cilantro Yo says, pulling teeth here. And that's what he's doing. This person just wants to make it so that contentment on the man's part should be enough on her part. And what this person is saying doesn't really matter because like RR says, it's to her. It is to her. She's not getting what she wants out of life. And they're having discussions like adults, which is a good thing because then they can decide how they want to split because all splits don't have to be contentious in all of that. Some of it can be like, you're right, this is not really for me. And then part ways like adults. Your parsnip says, you want different.
Greatness is getting 2,000.
The Ascended Masters are here, and we remembered because the friggin' pyramids just activated. Are you guys kidding? Are you kidding? When I was a kid, I would have never thought this would happen in my life. Society's biggest enemy is a beautiful, successful woman that doesn't keep her mouth shut. I swear, you will have.
You're getting your yes. I keep hearing that because I keep wanting the Eight of Wands. I was done filming, but I pulled it yet again, and I was like, what? This is Eight of Wands. I was up putting my shoes on, and I knew I needed to come back. So that also is very significant. Something's coming back around to say yes to you, but it's something that you said yes to first for yourself. I feel like in life, it's very important for you to know, and I got the chills, that you say yes to things first. And if you are looking to something else to say yes to you, there may be a part of you that knows deep down that either you need to come back into your power and realize that I'm choosing this. It's not, am I enough for it? We're both enough for each other. I know the value that I bring. They would be lucky to have me. These things would be blessed to have me in their presence because of this way I'm connected spiritually. The way that I'm connected, you are a blessing in human form. I'm seeing Lucky Girl from Moonlight Saving, Significant 777, a four-leaf clover. You're a good luck charm. You're beyond that. You are of value to everything. So when you know that, when you say yes to yourself, you hear a yes more rapidly. People signing contracts with you, people wanting you. What if it was about people trying to vet you, people fighting for you, putting their bids in for you? You enjoy the sweetest place. I really feel like it's a yes because I'm with the State of Wands. And right when I went to one-on-one, and then I keep saying that, you've been seeing my readings. One-on-one is very significant about you taking action first and you knowing that you are meant for something. Judgment, you are being guided, you are being inspired, and also you have to know too what you're asking for is being given. And I'm also telling you too, with judgment, what about your life and your routine must change? Change your mornings, change your life. If you want life to change your mornings. Meditate deeper, really communicate and commune with your guides even deeper. Even if you already do this, do it differently, express it differently. Go outside and smell roses, go outside and smell jasmine, do something to pattern interrupt and be in the joy and splendor. Open up your arms. Do you recognize if you're closed off like this, closed off to everything? If you're protecting yourself, you're keeping yourself safe. And that is a sign that I don't feel safe in reality. So you having to come to also remembering that this is a solar plexus, that's the seat of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind rules 90% of our functioning. When we are just open and accessible to everything, you have to know that you command your mind, it does not command you. You think with intention, and you think that you do. You think that it's always a yes, and you get that yes. I have chills. You are meant to hype people up. Something's meant to hype you up as well. It's like the second I start to feel that, no.
Because if we're on the street and have you standing on that,
Too bad. I'm just trying to cry myself to sleep. I'll do it before.
don't be afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Huh?
What?
You wanna actually hang up the phone?
I'm not sure where this video is saved because where are all the edits going?